Hi, this is Ben from myfertility.com, and today we're going to look at how to get pregnant books. Successfully conceiving and getting pregnant comes down to 5 main steps. The first step is being positive and upbeat about your efforts to conceive, having high self-worth and fully expecting to conceive next month. 2, focusing on your health. The more healthy you are, the higher your fertility is. If you're not already, start eating a pro-fertility diet and taking fertility supplements. 3, exercise. Exercise daily to get your blood flowing and oxygenate your cells, and also to get your lymph flowing and help it keep your body as clean as possible. 4, lowering your stress levels. Recent research has shown that stress has a negative impact on your fertility. It suppresses ovulation, in some cases stops it altogether. 5, timing intercourse. Doing everything possible to make it most likely for your sperm and your egg to meet. So you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of information. That's a lot to know. How do I get good information on all 5 of these steps? Well, that's a very good question, because these 5 steps are not usually found in the one place. There are, however, 3 books that I've read that between them cover all of this information. And it's these 3 books that I want to share with you right now. The first of these books is The Mind-Body Connection by James Schwartz. Now, this is a fascinating book, and it's very helpful in ways that most books on fertility aren't. It goes through all of the elements of positive emotions and the positive effect that they have on your fertility, but mainly the negative effect that negative emotions have on your fertility. So if you've been to the doctor or someone has told you that your infertility is unexplained, that you have unexplained infertility, this is the book for you. This deals with step 1 of our 5-step process, the effect of emotions and attitude on fertility, and also step 4, lowering stress of our 5 steps. So let's just have a quick look at the table of contents, which might be helpful. Chapter 1 is the fertility journey. Chapter 2, the evidence supporting the mind-body connection. Chapter 3, how the mind works. Chapter 4, the stress response and the importance of stress reduction. Chapter 5, issues and emotions that block conception. Very interesting chapter. Chapter 6, the dynamic of fear, how the past can affect the present. Chapter 7, the imperfect world of the perfectionist. Chapter 8, reprogramming at the cellular level. Chapter 9, working with meditation and visualization. Chapter 10, energy work, healing at the core. Chapter 11, the Tao of conception. And Chapter 12, preparing for conception, a timeline and action plan. And Chapter 13, complementary modalities and the fertility journey. Now, as that table of contents suggests, this is a very interesting book with information that you don't find in other books, and that's The Mind-Body Fertility Connection by James Schwartz. It's highly recommended that you buy. The next book is The Fertility Diet. It's by Dr. Jorge Chavarro and Dr. Walter Willett. Now, if you look at the cover, you're thinking this is probably a pretty boring, staid book. However, this is a much better book than its cover suggests. It gives you a detailed breakdown of the foods that are helpful to fertility and also those that are harmful for fertility and you want to avoid. This deals with step 2, eating a pro-fertility diet, and step 3, exercise of the 5-step process. Now, if we look at the table of contents, you find it very interesting as well. There's a lot of great information here. Chapter 1, Nourishing the Miracle of Conception. Chapter 2, missed conceptions, talking about our cycle and what can go wrong. Chapter 3, a diet for all ages. Chapter 4, slow carbs versus no carbs. This is a fascinating chapter. Chapter 5, balancing fats, equally fascinating. Chapter 6, plant protein rules. Chapter 7, take a break, skim, which is very revealing, talking about how skim milk is actually bad for you, and full-fat dairy is very positive for fertility. Chapter 8, mighty micros. Chapter 9, drink water to your health. Chapter 10, the 7.5% solution, dealing with body fat. Chapter 11, you've got to move it, about exercise. Chapter 12, putting it all together. And Chapter 13, meal plans and recipes, which is priceless, worth the price of the book by itself. So that's the Fertility Diet by Dr. Jorge Chavarro and Dr. Walter Willett. And this is an excellent book. I think anyone who is interested in increasing their fertility needs to have this book. And it's highly recommended that you buy. The third book that we're going to look at is Taking Charge of Your Fertility by Toni Weschler. This book introduces you to her, what she outlines as what she calls her fertility awareness method, in which she teaches you about and you become more aware of your monthly cycle and everything that goes on there and what happens, the fertility signs, all of the indicators associated with that, and how to track them and measure them in order to achieve pregnancy. This book deals mainly with step 5, timing intercourse, and steps 1, self-esteem, and step 4, lowering stress to a certain degree of our 5 steps. So when we look at the table of contents of this book, it's broken into 5 parts. Part 1, breaking fertile ground towards a new way of thinking, where she just begins to talk about everything involved with becoming more aware of your fertility, and also a bit about taking control of your reproductive health, about you getting in charge of things and taking control of what happens and not feeling at the effect of things. Part 2, rediscovering your cycle and your body. This is really the core of the book, and I'll just read through the chapters because they're very interesting. Chapter 3, there's more to your reproductive anatomy than your vagina. Chapter 4, finally making sense of your menstrual cycle. 5, the 3 primary fertility signs. 6, how to observe and chart your fertility signs. 7, anovulation and irregular cycles. Part 3 is about natural birth control. It's about how to use what she is teaching you to not conceive if you want to avoid getting pregnant, and also how to conceive if that's what you're after. Part 4, this is about the strategy for getting pregnant using what she teaches you, pregnancy achievement. So chapter 11, maximizing your chances for getting pregnant. Chapter 12, practical tips beyond fertility awareness. 13, love making versus baby making. 14, what's next? Tests and treatments. This may be necessary to achieve pregnancy. And part 5, which is beyond fertility, practical benefits of charting your cycle, which is rounding out the information. So, Taking Charge of Your Fertility by Toni Weschler. This is, if you're trying to conceive, if you're having trouble, I believe this is a must-have book. You really need this, all of the information in this book to get everything aligned and set up to give yourself the maximum chance of conceiving. And because of that, I highly recommend that you buy this book. So those are our 3 how to get pregnant books that we recommend that cover all of the areas in our 5 steps of our 5-step process. And they are the Mind-Body Fertility Connection by James Schwartz, the Fertility Diet by Jorge Chavarro and Walter Willett, and Taking Charge of Your Fertility by Tony Weschler. To get easy access to purchasing all 3 books, go to howtogetpregnantbooks.my-fertility.com. That's howtogetpregnantbooks.my-fertility.com. And if you happen to have read any of these books and you have any feedback or comments on them, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.